L'apartheid, système politique fondé sur une idéologie raciste, a régi 40 ans durant la vie de l'Afrique du Sud au profit de la seule minorité blanche. C'est autour des grandes villes, dans les townships comme Soweto et Mamelodi, que la résistance menée par les militants de l'ANC contre le régime fut la plus acharnée et la répression la plus sanglante. En 1994, les premières élections démocratiques marquent la fin de ce régime. Pour la première fois dans l'histoire de l'humanité, une jeune démocratie se donne les moyens pour tenter de régler les conflits qui l'ont tant meurtri et divisé. La Commission de la Vérité et de la Réconciliation devra faire la lumière sur le fonctionnement, les mécanismes et les exactions de l'apartheid pour établir quels en ont été les responsables, les bénéficiaires, les exécuteurs, les victimes.
Wale amnesty le ifuna politics
kuze kube nama election la uMandela bathi kuye kuze kube nama election wena baxolele labantu abenze izinto ngalesikhathi lesi ngumdala owazikhommitha ngoba efuna ukuthi kube nokuthula kuze sibambe ama election kube umdala azange avume lokho ngaba zange kube nama election ngabe udlama azange liphele.
I do agree with honesty, but the point is this: who killed my son? I mean, I only find those pieces of his, and then they say it's passable. And it's true, it's possible. Honestly, I want to tell you, up to this moment, he was killed in 1988. Up to this today, 1995, I don't eat meat the way that child was. So, I don't mind amnesty, but who killed him? Yes. Point number one. Okay, I can say it's policemen because they used to hunt him day and night, but I'm not sure. I don't know. I only found those pieces of his in the government commission. I don't mind amnesty, but the point is who and how, but why? Because he was a student.
And who saved them? Who gave the orders that this person or this people must be killed, and it's all right to kill them?
Pendant la répression, les gens ne pouvaient pas parler librement de ce qui leur était arrivé. Ils subissaient la répression. Ils ne se sentaient pas libres d'exprimer leurs problèmes, leurs expériences. Quand ils ont formé ce groupe Kouloumani, leur but était de pouvoir raconter tout ce qui n'avait jamais été dit et de parler sans peur. D'où ce nom, Kouloumani, qui signifie « exprimez-vous ». Il voulait dire « on a voté pour l'ANC, on a gagné, maintenant on peut parler ». La Commission de la Vérité entendra les victimes et les bourreaux. Eux, ils pensent que les bourreaux ont assez eu l'occasion de parler. Maintenant, c'est au tour des victimes, dans la mesure où elles ne peuvent de contester la version des bourreaux. Le but de Kouloumani n'est pas de s'opposer à la Commission, mais plutôt de s'assurer qu'elle perçoit l'Afrique du Sud du point de vue des victimes, qu'elle soit centrée sur les victimes.
National Party, ba fetsa bana ba rona le ba ditsala tsa rona le botata rona. Bona ba sontse ba buebiwa. They must be brought forward. Kar bona ntse ba lwa against toka le khotso. Ke go bona ka mo.
Ya baba. Ya upa ka mo ka ka pe. Mpa henna. Mhlomong go betere re ba tshwarele e se gore re a ba tshaba no ga re ba tshaba tshwarelo e tswa go modimo gore ka kgone re tshwarelane pele gore le yena a tle a tseba gore tshwarela go tseba gore tshwarela ke gore a tsebe go kenya kgotso ya nnete ka dipelong tsa rona
umntana wayemncane noma ebone kangakanani bofuza ukuthi ngabe bamthatha bambopha eze umntwana omncane bokufanele ukuthi abuthathiwe wapanisha bona abantu bomthetho ukusho ukuthi bokuwumthetho nje ongenamaqiniso ngoba khona manje sazi ukuthi you must be saved by umuntu womthetho bona bebengakwazi ukuprotecta instead they were killers le nto bayiqala kudala and namanje they are still denying ukuthi they won't come forward because they've done nothing because babulala impukane or or izeze or ini imosquito you just uyibulale nje you know that there's nothing happened uma saloku sithi sizoxolela nalapha phambili kuzoba njalo asiqineni nje ngento eyodwa sithi asiqolele ngaphandle ukuthi bangene phakathi
kwavunyelwana lapho kwakhulunywa khona manje ke singeke sithi emva kwalokho bese sithi no laba abantu ufuna balethe bazoshuthiswa baboshwe bezweni laba bathi abathe baye emthethweni bagwetho bavuma ukuthi benza lokhu nalokhu nalokhu fanele siqole nathi sibaxolele ngoba ngeke sibavuse mina ngeke bangivuse umntana mawuthi wena uxolele uzohlala kanjani uzoba umuntu umunwe wena mawuthi uxolele lezi zinto ziyenzeka emhlabeni selokwaqala phansi kude le kokhokho bethu kwakuliwa nakwamanye amazwe kwakuliwa kodwa kwahlalwa phansi kwaxoxwa kwaxolelwana kwadlula lokho indaba yokungaxoleli kodwa benithi nifuna ukuthula angiyiboni mina ngisingami angiyiboni ukuthi ngeke kwenzayo
Hello, hi, I'm Paul. Nice to meet you. It's our clocks. And the whole gang is here. Hello, sir. How are you? Are you well? Hello. How are you? I haven't seen you in ages and ages.
Sizofika manje.
Still very empty. So, basically, this is the first room. This is the booth here for the translators because we want to try and make sure that everybody can speak in the language that they feel comfortable. You don't have to speak in. You can speak in the language that you want to speak in, and then other people. We have a translating facility so that other people in the audience who don't speak, say, your home language, will be able to hear it in the language that they feel comfortable with. So this is the first hearing room. And then these two rooms over here are what the Archbishop calls crying rooms. That's particularly people before or after are very upset, or we know what it's like. Just somewhere you can go and be on your own, be quiet, be with yourself or with your family, not everybody around, and you can just, because obviously a hearing is a very emotional moment. So those two rooms are what we call crying rooms. These are the people who I suspected were involved in the death of my son or whatever. The computer immediately sends that information to all of our other offices in Cape Town, in East London, and in Durban. So if they get any other information relating to one person's case, they can immediately detect what's going on. Basically, what they're going to be doing is spending a lot of time typing, because a lot of those statements are handwritten. Those statements have to be typed up and put officially into our records and kept. When the statement taker's finished, they'll be able to come to the secretary, give them a document, and they will then type it up and make sure that your record is kept properly. So we'll have 12 investigators in this region. Some of them will be policemen, but they'll be policemen who we trust and we've not got a human rights abuse record, or not from the security police, etc. And then also some of them will be from NGOs, some of them will be lawyers, so that we've got a mix of people in our investigative team.
So in other words, this means you're also going to have lie detectors, or?
I'm not sure whether we'll go that route, because the problem with lie detectors is there's some questions raised about how reliable they are. But what we will use is our computers to try and make sure that people are telling the truth.
Pour comprendre la Commission de la Vérité, il faut d'abord comprendre la nature du compromis négocié en Afrique du Sud. L'origine de la Commission de la Vérité se trouve dans l'accord passé entre l'ANC et le gouvernement du Parti national. Vous savez que le changement de régime en Afrique du Sud n'a pas été obtenu par les armes, ni par une conquête, ni par un coup d'État militaire. La sphère de pouvoir a été négociée d'un gouvernement raciste minoritaire vers un gouvernement démocratique. Au cours de ce processus, 4 ans durant, les délégués du Parti national de l'ANC et d'autres partis, mais surtout de l'ANC et du Parti national, ont discuté de la forme, de la nature et du contenu de la nouvelle Constitution. Au terme de ces 4 années difficiles et tortueuses, ils ont abouti à un projet de Constitution comprenant un gouvernement de transition, une déclaration des nouveaux droits et une date fixée pour les premières élections démocratiques. C'est alors que les services de sécurité de la police sont venus voir l'ANC pour lui dire que, selon leurs renseignements, l'extrême droite s'apprêtait à saboter les élections et à poser des bombes. La force de l'extrême droite est suffisante pour bloquer les élections. Les membres de services de sécurité et leurs chefs ont dit à l'ANC « Nous contrôlons les réseaux de renseignement, et donc nous pouvons protéger les élections et neutraliser l'extrême droite, l'empêcher d'agir, mais à une condition, que vous nous accordiez l'amnistie. C'est trop nous demander de protéger le processus et les élections, si le résultat est de nous envoyer en prison. C'est pourquoi un amendement a été ajouté à la Constitution, pour que les services de sécurité et les chefs de la police aient cette assurance. Si vous permettez la tenue des élections, si vous aidez cette transition vers la démocratie, nous vous garantissons une certaine forme d'amnistie. Mais la nature de cette amnistie sera basée sur une transparence totale. Les gens doivent venir se présenter devant la commission et révéler toute la vérité sur les crimes qu'ils ont commis.
Knock knock. Sing again. All right, thank you. Marco. Ukuthi sizonazisa ukuthi kusasa bakhona abantu abazoya le eLongtail eSt Peters esontweni lapha kulela sonto ma-16 yabo, and then kusho ukuthi abantu be-Truth Commission bazohlala khona and then bathatha ama-statement ebantwini ngoba abo-Johan van der Merwe angithi kulamaviki lawandulile basuke bona bavuma ukuthi zikhona izinto ebazenzile and then kunabanye abafana abanyamalala eMamelodi ukuthi yibo benza lezi zinto lezo noma abanye phakathi kwesiphoyisa bayazi ngalokho, and then kunabanye abafana ke bake bayovuthela le eKwaNdebele nakhona bayazi ngalozo zinto, and then kunabantu babo labo basebenza ngaphansi kwabo and so yibo bapha leyo authority ukuthi benze izinto ezifana nalezo. Ngiyabonga nema. Okay, nisale nema. Okay. Yeah. Unisale sestyle. Okay, danke. Bye.
Toto. Yebo ma. Hallo, sesifike ke.
Nani? Siyamukela.
Njani khona?
Sikhona njani?
Sikhona.
Siyanamukela.
Ngibona.
Moyo omuhle.
Niphilile kodwa ma?
Hayi siphilile.
Hayi siphilile.
Sibona nje makhasi.
Hey, anona afikile ngempela.
Yeah,
nawona sekafikile. Yeah. Manje ngoba ngisho besifikile then namhlanje kusho ukuthi nje ngilanga la kusasa. Bangifonela abantu leni eJohannesburg. I-Truth Commission.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then kuyothathwa ama statement walabantu bonke balana eMamelodi. Laba ke bahlukumezwa ngalesa sikhathi njengoba i-Truth Commission seyizohlala lana ePitoli ngenyanga ezayo. Manje bazothatha ama statement and then nani ke nize nisikhulume njengoba nifuna ukwazi ukuthi kwenzekeni ingane zekuphi into esifana nalezo. Yeah.
Thile manje sola sasa.
Yeah, inkinga nje ngithemba ukuthi njengamanje nani yovelela manje ke nibuze mhlambe laba bombuso wakudala bayofika bantshele ukuthi kwenzekeni. Yeah. Ukuthi benzeni ngengane zabantu balana emzini ingane zanyamalana manje singazi ukuthi zikuphi.
Labantwana bethu bazabalaza lino principal wabiza amaphoyisa. Izikolo kwakungafundwa ke late 85 so wabhalwa kanzima lelokusha kubangwa indaba yalokho. Kodwa ngoFebruary ngabo January February washaya umoya. Kwathi ngelinye ilanga basesikolweni basalwela leya mistress uqoshiwe uprincipal abiza amaphoyisa abaqosha amaphoyisa mabeza la ngendlela ukhuphuka enzansi le usuka kulesa sikole isilengaphandle isiboni kodwa utshula umntwana omncane una 9 years I'm sure umama womntwana uzoza zobhasi ahamba nomama nogogo wakhe kula eyasparka khona ke impike labantwana bahamba bahlasela wonke amaphoyisa ahlala la ukuthi amaphoyisa sedanothe yiwa bulala lo mntwana omncane ulaki
No, same day ngoba bengishana ngebhangu ngaphuma amazinyo 3
ngapha yinipuleti liyi-1 nje kuphela
ya ipuleti so right mara befika la so but bebangisolo bangifaka omunye umuthi ukhulisa inyama ngispraya ngihlale 5 months from February until July
azange abuyeke waphela le viki ngeselongena la ngiphuma ngemakhabeti bathi asazi mntanakho thina hayi ekseni ngavuka azange batshele endlini something 5 amabhesi futhi ayigitshelele hostela ngabamba ibhesi ngaqonda emoshari ka-government lala bathi nalya ngangena ngathula indoda yomlungu ngayibuza ngathi hayi the first draw nje ngavula le bosha draw yokuqala ngahlangana nalo mntwana kuleyo draw how ngathi mosimina nangu lo mntana mimi ngimfunayo ufike kanjani la walethwa amaphoyisa lo mntana athi uchayisiwe eSprings Road yayibona mase Springs Road le ngase UR ngathi mina ay kodwa akafani nomuntu ochayisiwe kuphi chayisiwe khona ngoba lo muntu uphilile ngibona imbobo la nala naya kuphi la imoto imchayise khona wathi mina basho njalo ma okay ngase ngiyamthola ke waseyangibhalela ukuthi hayi ngimtholile ngase ngiyabuya ekhaya ngiyabatshela ngithi hayi umntana ngimtholile kodwa ufile esemoshari
Nous avons passé plusieurs mois à essayer d'envisager tout ce qui avait pu arriver aux Sud-Africains, noirs ou blancs. Assassinats, harcèlement, incendies criminels, toutes les différentes sortes de crimes, que ce soit coups, bousculades, coups de pied, tabassage. La loi prévoyait 5 catégories: assassinat, torture, mauvais traitement aggravé, enlèvement et disparition. Ensuite, il fallait distinguer entre torture et mauvais traitement aggravé. Nous avons décidé que la torture était en détention, dans une maison, une cellule, un poste de police, et les mauvais traitements à l'extérieur, Imaginez que vous attendez le bus. Plus loin, il y a un défilé de l'ANC ou de l'Inkatha. Ou supposons que des personnes attendent un taxi, et alors ils sont bousculés, piétinés, reçoivent des coups. C'est ce que nous appelons mauvais traitement aggravé, ça se passe dehors. Si c'est au poste de police, vous êtes arrêté et mis dans une cellule. Chaque fois qu'un policier vient, il vous donne des coups de pied et vous frappe, puis retourne à son travail. Il va déjeuner, il revient et recommence. Même chose le soir. Ça, c'est de la torture.
They will look at your son's case and try and see if they can help you in finding out what happened. Okay. But at the same time, I must just tell you that it is possible that they could investigate the case and still not find anything. So I just want to tell you that we're not promising you because there are so many cases. Do you have anything to say about that?
It's going to be a surprise because most of the time, anything which happened, they always say the law has a long arm. People can do something now, and after 3 to 4 years, those people are going to be identified and say, we have found people who have done this and this and that. So with us, how can it happen that it's going to be hard to find those people? Because they are there, they are known by the previous government. Because if only a policeman gets out from the police station to do some mission, he signs down that I'm going to such and such a place. So, I mean, I don't think that is going to be difficult. Maybe because of the new laws or what, but according to what we know is that the law has a long arm. They should be found, those people. Because I think if only they know that Stella was arrested in such a date, they've got records. They know the policemen which were holding the case. They know that in such a day, Stella was in court, so and so was responsible in that court. Then it's going to be a surprise, really, that why don't they find out who did it?
I suppose what I'm saying is I just wanted to be
okay,
be
yes,
out
I
there
understand.
in case something doesn't happen. Some people would like to have public hearings, not just between, say, you and me or something else.
Yes.
Would you like to have a public hearing to tell what happened?
Definitely.
All right. Not everyone is going to get a public hearing, right? Because there are just so many cases. But what I will do is I will put on your form that you would like a public hearing case.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Kilo bear handle air all right. And then
just to confirm that the hearings will be taking place from the 12th to the 17th. To the 16th, sorry, from 9 to 4 each day.
In this scheme are about 94 cases, and there are still 10 cases in, let's say, our system.
Okay, but could you just give us some indication of what type of stuff is beginning to emerge? Can you?
Of course, we have a lot of Mamelodi cases, about, let's say, 30-35 Mamelodi cases. Under which the burning of the 9 youth, the Kwandabele, the very famous Kwandabele case. We have a couple of statements of that area. We have, of course, the Pretoria bombing. We have cases in Silverton, and let's say there are a couple of cases from people who are disappeared, let's say in exile or whatever.
Is there anybody from the Mamelodi massacre of 85?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, thanks.
Okay, the first one, page 1. Mr. Knowles was in the bank during the so-called Silverton Bank siege. In the fight between the police and attackers, Mr. Knowles was hit by shrapnel and suffered 1 bullet wound. I don't think we need to hear this one. Yeah?
We have more, we have other ones.
Yeah, we've got stronger ones. I don't think we need to hear this one.
From the Silverton,
Because
there
we're
are more
supposed to know
coming
because,
up.
you know, it's yeah. Many people obviously
On trouve
have
des points de vue
different
différents sur la
views
question.
on that. That justice has been sacrificed.
Pour certains, la justice a été sacrifiée au profit d'un compromis politique, où la justice passe après la vérité alors que nous ne sommes même pas sûrs d'obtenir toute la vérité. Pour d'autres, les victimes sont maltraitées. Elles ont souffert sous l'apartheid et maintenant, avec un régime démocratique, elles n'obtiennent toujours pas ce qui leur est dû. Les tortionnaires qui devaient payer les conséquences de leurs actes s'en tirent à bon compte. Je crois que ce débat ne sera jamais clos. Ce n'est peut-être pas nécessaire qu'il le soit. Ce qui compte, c'est de comprendre le rapport de force et les circonstances objectives qui ont conduit à la Commission de la Vérité. Et que tout bien considéré, il n'y avait pas d'autre choix.
My friends.
Hello, Mama. Hello, Sepati. I greet you, but before I ask you to tell your story, I just want to give a little bit of the background about Becky. On the 17th of November 1989, former police captain Johannes Dirk Coetzee made his own series of revelations about his activities as the commander of the SAP's death squad. In May 1990, a Walkman cassette player with an explosive device contained in the headphones was sent to Coetzee in Zambia. Coetzee never received We'll hold it for a while. Coetzee never received the parcel, and in February 1990, it was returned to the sender, Becky Malangeni, of the firm Cheadles, Thompson and Haysom. Mama, please, if you feel that you want to stop for a while, let me know. It's your moment.
Becky was very brilliant.
he was very conscious. He would ask things that he would never answer. Begi went on studying. He was writing me letters. Sometimes he would say, "Mom, there are people here outside who are really hurt. There are people that I want to help." I asked him at one stage, what kind of help are you going to give these people? He said, "I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a lawyer for human rights."
My daughter-in-law came rushing and just said, "Begi." I just said, "What's wrong with Begi?" My daughter-in-law just said, "Mama, Begi at the garage." I was surprised, what's this garage story about? I couldn't hear anything. I was feeling very ill. When I came out, they held me. They said, "Please don't go in there." I just skipped through their legs and went in. I found Begi. He was in pieces. He was hanging on kidneys. He was all over. Pieces of him and brains, all of it was scattered around. That was the end of Begi.
Say, Party, I'm not going to ask you to go over what happened because I think it's very, very painful for you. But you've come to the Commission to tell your story, and we'd like to hear from you about what you want the Commission to do for you.
Other issues I've been getting from newspaper is that Eugene de Kock says he's going to ask amnesty from you. I contest this. Eugene, when he did what he did, he knew. He knew that somebody would die. Today, I'm a widow.
I'm an outcast.
I'm an outcast in our society because I'm a widow. In our community, in our society. You are associated with all sorts of things when you're a widow. Because of a person who didn't think through when they were doing this. So that when this person comes to you to ask for amnesty, how do you forgive such a person? If I can find an answer to this question, how do you go about forgiving this person who is a cruel murderer, who killed a defenseless person, who had never killed anyone, a person who had never raped anyone, a person who had never committed any crime, was just fighting for people's rights, but without carrying a gun? I would like the Commission to assist me there.
Thank you, Sefati. I want to say to you that it is true that people apply for amnesty, but you are not obliged to forgive them. And if you want to oppose the amnesty application when it is made, then you have the right to do so. But we will certainly try on your behalf to find out the things that you're asking us to find out, why the parcel came to Becky and how Eugene could do something like that. I thank you for coming to us and for telling us your story, and I thank you for the courage with which you sit here and tell it as well.
What was the day of the week?
Maybe Saturday.
But he never came back.
I think we should thank Faisal Randera for making it possible for, or the Truth Commission in particular, making it possible for him to be part of us, because the whole AMIA exercise here today, or at least rebali kind of relationship and libon, and it's about discuss today, learn a kind of feedback, because the commissioners, they've like had some meeting and talked about some of those cases. So it's not all about.
I felt very good because that was something which I've never done after Stella's death. You know, it was quite a relief to say something to people and to see that people are concerned and people are taking care of you after the pain you had when you lose your loved one. It was quite a great day for me, lifting up my hands, saying, God help me, because it was really a day of asking help, that God help me.
The thing is, how did you feel before? And the thing is, how did you feel by the time you took the oath? You know, this thing, I've been trying to look at it. I can't get anything out of it. Probably you might have.
I never thought I could do it. During that time, always I was crying. I felt, I won't do it. I won't face those people. I can't. I'm not brave. I'm just going to die. But Dimakato was there. Rudy was there. Then Memake Abu, and then I said, and then I'm going to talk. Maybe I've been sick for a long time, and this is my time for me. Tell these people, then maybe change. Alright. Otherwise, I was very much okay.
Ngangiloyo muntu nje namo wayesebuhlungwini esashuda dwethu ngizibuza ukuthi uma abantwana bethu bebegijima ezomzabalazo babulawa bese kuyathuleka nje sizophila kanjani. Ngangiyileyo nkinga nje ngakwazi ukuya next door ngakhona kumake gate ngumuntu nje ohlala ekhaya. Ngisasukuma ngifunga lapho nganginokuthuka nje ukuthi hlezi into engizozikhuluma zizongifaka enkingeni or kanjani. Manje nayo ngiyayibonga ukuthi babona ukuthi ezweni kwenzakalani, kufuzile ukuthi basisondeze kubo sikhulume sibone ukuthi bakhona ababezulana nathi.
When they sit with you, they want to talk, they want to be listened to. So what you usually do, even before you take a pen, you just sit there and the person tell their story. Sometimes they take a long time, so you just have to be patient to listen to them. And that obviously is, you have to keep the balance here. I mean, what we are most interested in is to get the statement written down, get the facts written down, but at the same time you have to give the person the opportunity to talk, and hopefully that in itself is like it's the beginning of the process of healing.
Some people are living in those houses where there are bullets, with bullets riddled houses, and they're still sleeping. Then you ask your person, you say, so and so was shot, and you are sitting on this chair, and you can see the chair, and the person is sitting on the very same chair with bullets, and you ask yourself, what is really going on? And you come back to the office, you give the statement, and you have to go back and do on and on and so on.
All I do is I take the facts and I bring them in the office here, And when it is read that so-and-so's house was tagged and 4 or 5 people died, it's dry, it's statistic. I suppose that's the lack. If we could have a way in which we could capture all of that, the emotion that goes with it, the atmosphere that people live in as a result of that. But unfortunately, we're not able to do that.
The pains are still there, the trauma are still there, but we really don't know how are we going to reconcile if this is what has to happen to all of us every day, every minute, every second, every night. So it's going to be difficult for us to reconcile. Reconciliation is there, yes, I agree, but how are we going to reconcile? How are we going to find that road to reconciliation?
Mr. Chairman, we have prepared, in conjunction with our clients, the applicants, an opening statement which will serve as my opening statement to these proceedings.
We were brought up to believe in apartheid. We were made to believe that apartheid was sanctioned by God through the church. We were made to believe that our participation in the security forces was justified to uphold apartheid. We were made to believe that black people were inferior and that the needs, emotions, and aspirations of black people differ from ours. We were made to believe that we were superior and that these differences justified apartheid. We have come to realize that these beliefs were wrong. We all supported the National Party until 1994. What we had done was always in the interest of the National Party and its objectives. We believed in the policies of the National Party and believed that we had to carry out our duties in support of our party. We state emphatically that we have been deserted by the National Party and that we have, so to speak, been thrown away in the gutter, where we now have to take the responsibility on our shoulders to deal with our past, to motivate our actions, and to present our view as Afrikaners of the conflict. We call upon the previous government and our superiors to explain certain orders given to us, about which we shall testify, and to admit to authorizing actions outside the normal processes of the law, such as are demonstrated by the facts of our deeds and the authorization thereof. We will give evidence about our actions during the time of the conflict and will show that all our actions were purely and simply associated with a political objective, namely to uphold the National Party government and apartheid, to fight communism, and to resist liberation of South Africa and democracy for all in South Africa.
Okay, just for the record, it's 12 on 27th of February 1997. We're on the banks of the Komati River. I'm here with Captain Van Lochenberg from SAPS. Okay. It's in connection with Johannesburg 00500 case, disappearance of Stanza Bopapi. My understanding is that we don't have any detail about instructions vis-à-vis the body, so I'm trying to get some exact detail about what his instructions were.
Goed, die instruksies was dat ek van die liggaam moet ontslaa raak. So vra as daar 'n moontlikheid is dat ek kan ontslaa raak van die liggaam, ek het sê ja, ek sal kan help. Die liggaam is oorgelaai van 'n voertuig na die voertuig, my voertuig, waarmee ek daar was. En ek het van, soos ek sê, van Bronkhorstspruit af, direk daai aand deurgery hiernatoe.
Perhaps you could tell me why you decided upon this location itself, and specifically what your knowledge of this area was at that time.
Die plek is aan my bekend. Ek was voorheen al hier gewees. Is 'n bekende vleisbraaiplek, visvangplek, seekoeie, krokodille en net aan die ander kant daai rif by daai kraglyne is die Mosambiek grens, soos ons weet. En dit was bekend aan my.
So it was purely on your choice this spot. You had the discretion to choose where to. Okay. It was night time, as you've pointed out, past 12 o'clock. Do you remember whether there was moonlight that night? What light were you using?
Nee, ek kan nie onthou.
You can't remember?
Nee, ek kan nie.
But obviously you don't want to fall in the river, and with crocodiles, you were obviously using light of some sort.
Ek het, soos gesê, met inry het ek eers voorgestop die kar se ligte hier gehad.
So the car was facing forward?
Forward. Teruggestoot, ingetrek daar en met die agterkant teruggegaan, parkeerligte aangelos en die kattebak oopgemaak.
If you remember whether the body was lying with the back this way or...
Ek kan nie vir u sê hoe die bene was nie. Ek kan nie sê hoe die arms was nie. Ek kan nie sê waar die kop was, die kop daai kant of die kant nie. Net weer vir u te sê. Ek het ingegaan, ingedruk onder en weet laat hulle rus op die arms, getrek, laat sak en oorgeklim in hierdie kant en toe net ingerol.
Okay. Okay, I think that will suffice with that. All right. Okay, just a couple more questions I have there. Okay, fine. So, do you remember whether or not you saw the body disappear, whether it floated, whether it sank, or was it not visible?
As ek reg onthou, het dit gesink. Okay. Ek het nie tyd gespandeer om seker te maak nie. Okay. Reguit terug kantoor toe. Ek het teruggerapporteer by my provinsiale bevelvoerder op daai stadium. Dit was in die oggend. Brigadier Skalkvisser.
He just said he went back and reported to Skalkvisser.
And reported what had happened. Did you at any time return to this scene since that incident?
Ja,
in connection with this matter?
Nee, ek was baie na daai dag, daai spesifieke voorval. Was ek al weer, ek sê baie, weer geleenthede hier. Nie om te kom kyk wat aangaan nie, maar weer, soos ek sê, vleisbraai, of as 'n ou in die omgewing is, ouens sê kom ons braai vleis, dan is dit maar die normale vleisbraaiplek.
Okay, so you would come back here occasionally on more pleasurable business? Yeah. Okay.
I'm comparing here the
Je
three
compare
types,
3 courbes,
that is torture,
torture,
severe,
mauvais traitement et
treatment and
assassinat.
killing. So
En 1976, c'est assez élevé. Ça correspond aux émeutes de Soweto. Ça redescend un peu après 78, c'est calme. Puis ça recommence. C'est la période de l'état d'urgence qui a duré environ 54 mois. C'était à cette époque, 86-85, surtout 85. C'est cette pointe-là qui est très nette. Puis les assassinats, la torture, ça retombe. Ici, de Klerk arrive au pouvoir, il y a la libération de Sisulu et d'autres, puis la libération de Mandela. Après, ça remonte. Avant les élections, on voit, surtout à partir de 89, quand l'ancien président de Klerk a remplacé Botha, ça commence. Puis 90, la libération de Mandela, et 92, 93, 94, c'est très élevé.
Today, what is it like to process statement after statement after statement for you, Kenneth? Not.
Well, yeah, for me. Well, I think that when you look at it, when you look at the effect it has on you, because you work with the statements, and somebody tells you that they took him and tortured him, electric shocks applied to every part of his body, and when things like that, it gets to be every day. But it always hits you sometimes that, I'm forever working this, and it's now getting to be, so what? I mean, so someone else has got a better story than you do, but I think I wonder what it's going to be, if it has any impact on me, socially or what.
You can't sleep because that thing is always on your mind. You can sleep for 2 hours, but afterwards you'll be wide awake thinking about it, recalling it, going over it. And sometimes you have to talk to someone to find out if you can get it out of your system and what they see, how do they understand it.
So have you experienced that already working here?
Well, I haven't done so many files that are so gruesome. It's just, as they said, normal things like killing, shooting, and castrating.
But it's interesting, the language. People say normal.
Normal.
This is
No,
normal.
no, we don't mean that it's normal.
I know.
I'm
saying it's appropriate. No, it's right that you're saying normal. It's what is normal for the Truth Commission. And that's what it deals with normally.
Yeah, everything, every day, every statement that you come across, there is a shooting and a killing. And then you find things like what Apia said, pulling out of eyes. That's when you go, wow,
Basically, we judge goodness or badness on how gruesome the fire is. And the more gruesome, the better the story, the more interesting. You're not sitting there redundant thinking about this very boring statement and then capturing it into the computer. Because once it's gruesome, it's interesting. And you feel like doing the file. Yesterday, an example. One part of the statement really caught my eyes because the whole day I was dealing with normal things like incarceration, killing also, but that's normal. But then I read something about train violence in the East Rand, and this man's eye was literally pulled out. And because it was so gruesome, it got my attention. And I went around showing it to everybody in the office, thinking, God, this is amazing, And it emotionally really bugs you up because I went home thinking about that. And I couldn't imagine it, It was like unbelievable. Basically, before the commission, I was in this cocoon, let's say. Because I knew about the strifes and the struggles that people went through in the country. But I wasn't exposed to it to such an extent. And because I'm exposed to it now, to all the struggle and suffering that people went through every day, 7 hours a day, I think my perception towards things have changed drastically. I'm not in that cocoon anymore. I don't see life in that naive way that I used to, you know, and my perceptions towards the police force has changed, towards certain ANC members, you know, because it was ANC, you know, up there somewhere. But there's things I read about them that's not very nice. Basically, my attitudes towards lots of things have changed.